Dr. Jeff Grove. I'm a dentist from Pennsylvania. We were just coming up on our 6-year anniversary when we ended up selling. Started off with one practice, really quickly had some acquisitions and some de novos. And, just like any big group of practices or mix up of practices, we had some success with some great success, and not so much success with others. The bottom line is we hit some headwinds that we just really had a hard time overcoming as a smaller DSO, some things that we just had a hard time figuring out and getting past. We had grown very rapidly, very quickly. We had fortunately been successful in surviving the pandemic and some of the challenges that went with that. But then just, and I know I'm speaking to an audience of other dentists and other practice owners and maybe DSO owners. So, you know the drill. We hit some headwinds and we had some challenges with people and retention and revenue and things like that. And some of our locations weren't really performing well. So I would say it was our situation that led us to say that it's time for us to find a partner, someone that we can grow with, someone that can bring some much needed resources to our organization and keep it thriving and going into the future. So that's kind of what led us to say, like, now's the time to make a change. Ryan, my partner, we were the co-founders of our DSO together, and met Kevin. I had already known Kevin just being in the industry and growing one large practice. Kevin and TUSK had already become a household name if you were growing rapidly. And Ryan met Kevin, and Kevin was just always one of those guys, and the TUSK team for that matter, that was always just like right there in our Rolodex. Anytime we needed to call someone or ask a question, he was there with us to ping throughout our growth. We asked some questions about one-off acquisitions that we made, de novos, strategies to add value, knowing that we would exit at some point. So it was an easy decision to engage TUSK when the time was right, because we already had that relationship with Kevin and frankly, many members of the team. The process that TUSK runs leading up to marketing is very robust, very detailed. I just can't imagine the hours that Alex and you, Josh, and some of your team members that I haven't even met yet put into getting us ready to go to market. The process itself is, for anyone who's about to enter this process, it's fraught with ups and downs. There's some great moments where you really feel like the world is interested in acquiring you and you've got some great potential. And then there's down moments where groups change their mind or want to retrade on certain points. And I just can't imagine navigating all those ups and downs. It's really a roller coaster, without someone in your corner who really has had experience with all of those nuances that go with these big complex deals that you need to look at from just so many different angles. So the process itself had a lot of ups and downs in it, and I'm glad that we had a resource like TUSK to stand behind us and help us. I've given that thought a lot of a lot of thought, because there were so many different elements of this deal and this process that TUSK helped with tremendously. But if I had to single it out to just one, it really would be knowledge and experience. Just the knowledge of what's happening in the industry, the knowledge of who the bigger players are, who are the buyers that are going to be the right fit for who we are. Because just the shoe just doesn't fit the same on every single foot, obviously. And their knowledge, their experience, their relationships that they had with some of these DSOs that were buying, and they knew the playing field, I guess, and the playbook very well, and were able to kind of navigate and hone in on who would be ultimately the best fit for Dynamic Growth to partner with. So I would just say knowledge and experience. And obviously that's growing for you guys every day. And you're just seeing the changes and the ups and downs of this market, and navigating that alongside you guys was extremely beneficial for us. Gave us a lot of peace of mind throughout the process of a sale, which, as I said, is a bit of a roller coaster. I would say don't do it. I mean, it's simple. I honestly think that's just like jumping in the ocean and trying to swim with sharks, without some type of support or backup or defense. No, you need it's worth the extra investment of time, money to have a partner like TUSK. Really not time. They actually save you a lot of time, but it's worth the extra investment of money to have someone like TUSK on your side through this process. Because doing it alone, gosh, I just can't imagine that. There's just so much knowledge and experience that if, especially too, if you just went to a random, broker or investment banker that just doesn't know this industry and some of the nuances. I'm sure there are many things about deals that are very common, but I think that in our industry, there's a lot of nuances and complexities. And like you said, Josh, with our deal, that came to fruition for sure. And I'm so relieved that and I feel so grateful looking back that we picked a group that really has true, very specific industry knowledge about exactly what's happening and industry experience that they can lend